In this tutorial, we will cover index and match in Excel. Please open file 07 Index and Match. While the index and match functions aren't overly powerful when used independently, together they allow you to return a cell value based on its vertical and horizontal position. The index function. When used alone, the index function returns a value at the intersection of a row and column you specify. For example, let's have Excel return the value at the intersection of row 2 and column 3. Click on your worksheet in cell A2, then go up to the Formulas tab on the ribbon. In the function library, click on Lookup and Reference, and go down and click on Index as it's in alphabetical order. When you click on Index, it'll open up the Select Arguments dialog box. The index function allows you to choose between two different sets of arguments. First is array. Array returns the actual value at the intersection of the row and column you specify. Reference, on the other hand, returns the cell reference at the intersection of the row and column you specify. Let's select the array argument and click OK. That opens up the function arguments dialog box, which looks for the array, row number, and column number as your arguments. Notice that array and row number are bold, which, if you remember, means that they're required. Array is the range of cells in which you want to search. Row number is the row in the array for which you want to return a value. And column number is the column in the array from which you want to return a value. As you can see, since it's regular text, this means that this is an optional argument. In the array box, let's go and select our cells. If you would, go and select from cell A4 down to G58, as this is all of our information. For the row number, let's click in the row number box or press your tab key to jump into there, and let's go and check row number 2. Press your tab key or click in the column number box. For the column, in this case, we want to check our values. You'll see in the formula results, it just gives us our index information until we complete this. In the column number box, type in the number 3, and you'll see the formula result gives you an example in the lower left-hand corner of the arguments dialog box of Nelson. Click OK, and you'll see that in cell A2, the index function returns the value at the intersection of row 2 and column 3 as we specified. The match function. When the match function is used on its own, it searches for a value in a range of cells and returns the relative position of that value in the range. For example, we can have Excel look for the name Nelson in a column of last names and returns the location in the column in which the name is found. Click in the cell B2, as this is where we're going to put in our match function. Up on the Formulas ribbon, go and click in the function library on Lookup and Reference and go down to Match. Click on Match to open up the function arguments dialog box for match. This displays lookup value, lookup array, and match type. Lookup value, as we said, is the value in which the cell is the value in the cell range for which you want to find a cell reference. The lookup array is a range of cells containing both lookup values. Lookup array is a range of cells containing possible lookup values. Both of those are bold with their text, which means they're required. The third box is match type. Match type is an optional argument, and we can put either a 1, a 0, or a -1 in there to indicate which value is returned. If you leave it blank or put a 1 in there, it finds the largest value that's less than or equal to the lookup value that you've typed in. A 0 returns an exact match, and a -1 finds the smallest value that's greater than or equal to the lookup value. In our lookup value box, type in the word Nelson and press Tab or click in the lookup array. For our lookup array, let's go to the C column, go and select C4 down to C58 or C54. to C58. Click in your match type box. In our match type box, you'll see underneath it gives us the option of 1, 0, or -1. Since I want an exact match, please type in a 0 in the match type box, and you'll see a formula result gets returned as 2. Click OK, and you'll see it returns 2 in cell B2. As we said, by themselves, index and match aren't too much to write home about, but the real power for them becomes when you combine them. Click in cell C2. Click in cell C2. Combine the index and match functions. When used together, the index and match functions combine to be a powerful force in Excel. Hopefully, after seeing how helpful the functions are, you will choose to use this instead of just the VLOOKUP function. You can also nest the index and match functions to allow you to look in a range of data and pull out a value at the intersection of any row or column. For example, you can start with the index function, set a column of sales numbers as the array, then within it use the match function to enter a name from the last name column. As a result, the formula will return the sales value for the name you specify. While the VLOOKUP function can only look for a value in the first column of data to return at an adjacent value, using the index and match function together allows you to search in any column and return a value in any row. With C2 selected, go up to your ribbon and on the Formulas tab, look in the Function Library again for Lookup and Reference. Go ahead and click on Lookup and Reference. And let's start with the index function and then nest the match function within it. Select index. In the Select Arguments window, select Array and click OK. That'll open up your array for our information. For our array, go and select G4 down to G58 for our sales. Click in your row number box or press your Tab key to jump into that location. Then if you would, let's type in match. And then because it's a function, please open up your parentheses to set our information in there. Now, type in your quotes and type in Nelson and close your quotes. Type in comma. And if you would, click on cell C4 and select from C4 down to C58. Type in your comma, and because we want an exact match, type in a 0. Close your parentheses, and you'll see it returns our formula result. Go ahead and click OK. And you'll see it returns 6,601. This is the value for Nelson in row 5 as it returns that information. Now you can make this a little bit more interactive if you want to display this by setting up your lookup value instead of Nelson having it look at a cell. If you would, go and click on D2, and in D2 type in Hay, H-A-Y, and hit enter. Now we're going to adjust our index and match formula. Click on cell C2, go to the formula bar and double click on Nelson to select that. Click on cell D2 to replace Nelson with D2 and click on your check mark box on your formula row to accept that. You will see it changes our index and match result in C2 as now it's looking for Hay or whatever we have in D2 and returning that information from our G column or sales column. Click on D2 and change that to Barrel, B-A-R-I-L. Hit enter and you'll see that changes again as now it's looking and checking information as it's doing its calculation.